First to face Stephen Bartlett and the rest of the Dragons, a London-based duo, Edward Hancock and Richard Simpson. Edward may be a busy entrepreneur, but he still finds time to keep up with international events.
Did you hear about the terrible news that the French cheese factory recently burnt down? All that was left was debris. Yeah, and that's it. Boom.
It wasn't Edward's cheesy jokes, but rather his lifelong love of the foodstuff itself that led to Richard's nickname for him.
We've known each other since we were 13. I called him the cheese monster at 13. And here we are, 25 years later, running a cheese business.
But will the Dragons' friendship with their new partner mature as well as Edward and Richard's?
Stephen, welcome to the den.
Honestly, thank you. It's a privilege and honour, and I couldn't be more excited.
Stephen, I have to say you already look at home in that chair.
It suits me, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Let's do it.
Hi, Dragons. My name's Edward, founder of Cheese Geek.
I'm Rich, COO and problem solver.
We are the disruptive, modern cheesemonger looking to raise £150,000 for 3% of the business. There are currently over 750 varieties of cheese being made in the UK, but most of us can probably name less than 10 of those, if that. There have been many innovative, tech-led businesses that have revolutionised flowers, craft gin, craft beer. Cheese has been left behind. Within 5 years, we aim to become the dominant brand within the £3.2 billion UK cheese industry and beyond.
There are 3 ways in which we intend to achieve this. Firstly, we offer an unrivaled experience, whether it's our one-off boxes or our flagship subscriptions, guaranteeing new cheese every month. We source almost all of our cheese directly from UK cheesemakers. This means we're sending out the best cheese at the best time of its life. Secondly, our technology. Our upcoming mobile app will be a game changer. Every cheese you ever tried will be stored and rated. We call it Vivino for cheese. Thirdly, our brand identity and sustainability sit at the centre of our business.
So, in our first full year, we turned over 96,000. Year 2, 280,000, and year 3, 1.54 million. All that's left now is to try some British cheese.
A cheese subscription app is the proposition from tech entrepreneurs Edward Hancock and Richard Simpson.
And Rich is now going to present you with some cheesy canapes, which I'd recommend having before your meal, during your meal, after your meal, or in between meals.
They're seeking £150,000 in return for a 3% share in their business.
So I'm plant-based.
We've sourced some ethical dairy cheese for you.
From the ethical dairy?
Directly from the ethical dairy.
Oh, well, you've got my soft spot there, because if I ever try cheese, it's from them.
Her ethically sourced cheese sample has already won the approval of serial eco-investor Deborah Meaden. Now she wants to know what makes this business unique.
So, guys, where is your value? What's the really hard thing to replicate?
For me, I would start with the technology. It holds all our cheese universe. We have hundreds of cheeses in there, profiles on all of them, and all our customer data feeds into it and kind of works its magic and spits out the 5 cheeses that are going to be perfect for that person. And then customers rate their cheese, and then that starts to influence what they get in future boxes. So their subscription just becomes more and more personalised as people stay with us. So
your timing is actually good, because British cheese has absolutely blossomed because we're struggling getting French cheeses into the UK. And what I'm trying to work out is when this all settles down, what happens to your market?
I think that is a part of it, but I think there's a fundamental movement of all of us as a body of people to understand more about where our food comes from, whether the values of that producer and that business match our values.
And what about the ethical side of it?
So at the moment, around 15% of all of our cheese is organic.
And do you have any mega dairies on your books?
Absolutely not.
Do you have any cheese at all that isn't grass-fed?
Absolutely not. 200 cows is the most of any, and they're all pasture-fed.
Thank you.
An ethically leaning business, powered by some savvy tech, in a growing market, could prove a compelling combination for Deborah Meaden. But is Peter Jones finding the price tag the entrepreneurs have placed on their business quite so palatable?
I've got to say, your valuation is smellier than your cheese. Why have you come in here with such a ridiculous valuation?
So what I've done is I've taken the revenue and applied a 3.1 times multiple. I'd also add, I think, which is really important, that I've invested 720,000.
How much?
720,000.
Where did you get 720,000? Sorry.
From my career in finance.
Have you got more where that came from?
No.
So you spent all your money on this?
Yeah. It was a kind of crazy thing to do.
Either stupidity or genius or, you know.
So 700k invested?
720 of me, and then 700,000 was also invested by investors.
And how much more money do you see over the next 2 years that you need to raise?
0. I'm a numbers guy. So I'm not someone that's going to say I'm not a business person, I don't understand. Numbers is my game. We're expecting an EBITDA in our 4th year of 5.6 million.
Yeah, no, look, seriously, as an investor sitting here, it's so lovely to invest in a business that has a chance of paying me back. So thank you for that. That's sarcasm, by the way. You know, the real world is like, people invest in businesses where we believe that there's a real return on investment. But at the moment, your first profit's coming in 4 years' time. That is a long time away.
We're expecting it's profitable now. This year, we're forecasting to do 3.3 million. That's with a 1.4 million gross and an EBITDA of around 2K.
2K?
Yeah, £2,000, yeah. Just marginally positive.
That's not profit, that's a night out.
The pair's prediction of a less than impressive EBITDA, a method of measuring a company's profitability, appears to have riled Peter Jones. But the entrepreneur's comparison of their product with a successful wine app has caught the attention of Stephen Bartlett.
Really fascinating business.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You refer to your business as Vivino for cheese. I'm actually one of the investors in Vivino. Got a couple of questions for you. What is your exit strategy for this business?
Probably most likely a listing.
Really?
Yes.
You're going to have to get huge scale to list your business. You realise that?
I think we can. So at the end of the 4th year, we're going to be 24 million. And that is conservative. And I know it sounds crazy and you're going to laugh at that, but genuinely, like, I really have no interest in being crazy. So that is based on multiples, based on where the business is now.
You said you're not here to be crazy. So you tell me what the biggest risks to your business are.
Gosh, the biggest risk to our business, I honestly can't think.
It's really concerning when an entrepreneur doesn't know what the risks are to the business, because then they might surprise them. You've got to understand what those risks are.
I would throw one in, I think, capacity of cheese makers. So we work with small batch artisan makers. Have they been pushed to the level of supply that we need?
Yeah, so that's a really good point, because there's a big difference between that supply chain supporting a 1.5 million turnover business and that supply chain supporting a 25 million turnover business.
24.
It will not cope with that demand. So what can you do about that? Because that, to me, is the biggest thing stopping me from sitting here right now and saying, I want to make you an offer.
So I think, yes, let's take an example. I mean, the rise in non-dairy milk actually helps us, because the more people that drink oat milk, the less people are drinking cow's milk. That can be made for cheese. And there is so much milk out there, and we need to redirect that milk to cheesemakers, and we work directly with them to make artisan cheese.
The online cheesemongers have a wholesome vision for the future of the British dairy industry, with their business placed right at the centre of it. Has it been enough to persuade the dragon with a plant-based diet to invest?
I've sat here quietly trying to work out whether or not this is something I want to be involved in or could be involved in. Because I think it's really got legs, and you have got something here. But I've got some big issues within the milk industry. And I can't be part of a business that, whilst you might want to drive yourself towards the more ethical end of it, I'm going to struggle, because I will say some things that will upset some of your suppliers. So I don't think I can invest. So I'm really sorry, guys, I'm out.
Disappointment for the entrepreneurs, as Deborah Meaden's concerns about the environmental effects of milk production lead to a rejection of their business. Peter Jones was earlier dismissive of the company's valuation, and he's now ready to give his verdict on the investment proposition.
If we talk about your overall strategy, the biggest risk of this business is your supply chain. Without that supply chain being properly organised and functional, you actually don't really even have a business. But you always fall back on the tech you're deploying. I think it's definitely a tech business. I like the model. I think the business model is really clever. And I can see this in multiple locations around the world once you set up infrastructure and supply chain. So I'm going to make you an offer. And I'm going to offer you all of the money. I was going to say for 20%, but I've paused because I don't think you'll do it. So I'm going to offer you all of the money, but I want 15% of the business.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Are you accepting or?
Better.
We might just think for a sec.
An unanticipated offer from the longest-serving dragon, Peter Jones. But for his £85,000, he wants 5 times more equity than the 3% that was on the table. Will the Den's newest recruit, Stephen Bartlett, be prepared to match or even better it?
I really like the business, and there's tons of challenges you'll face, but the most important thing that gives you conviction as an investor that those challenges won't be insurmountable are the entrepreneurs that stand before you. When I chose to join the Den, I was asked a lot about what type of business I was looking for, and my answer was always the same. It was, I'm looking for a business where there's a lever I can pull based on my experience, my skill set, and my contacts to multiply the value of the business. So I feel like you're here for me, and I also feel like I'm here for you. So I am going to make you an offer, but I'm not going to suck the blood out of you like Peter just did. I'm going to offer you all of the money for 7.5% of your business because I think that's fair.
Okay, thanks very much.
That's a really good offer. And a lovely first offer.
Oh, thank you.
You shouldn't take it, but it's great.
Stephen Bartlett puts the cat amongst the pigeons by dramatically undercutting Peter Jones's offer by half, asking for just 7.5% of the company. It's an audacious move, and one that has certainly given Tuka Suleiman something to think about.
That young new dragon, he's just swept me off my feet. Look, you have an amazing offer from a new dragon, which you could consider. But I do like it. I think there's a lot there that I can help you with. So I'm going to make you an offer because I think you deserve an offer from me, whether it's right or wrong. But I'll offer you all of the money for 15%.
Thank you, Tuka.
Thank you.
Rich, you need to play it a little bit cooler if you're going to be in with any chance of negotiating any sort of deal. Just look over at Edward, stern face, poker face. You're just thinking, oh my word, this is just what I need. And do you know what? I think one of those guys is just what you need. But I don't think I am the right investor for you. So it's with a heavy heart I say that I'm out.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want to go and have a little
A
think?
couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The Cheese Geeks now have 3 competing offers to consider. Peter Jones and Tuka Suleiman are demanding 15% of the company, but Stephen Bartlett has swooped in for a more competitive 7.5%.
Well, what he's going to bring the business? Good, mate. Insane. Shall we see if he goes well? I think that's one.
Well, thank you so much for your offers. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm so pleased that you kind of feel enthusiasm for what we're doing. I think Stephen, you would have some really obvious advantages that you can bring. I just wonder whether if you got your money back, you'd be willing to drop down to 5%.
I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can return my money within the next 24 months, then I'll drop down to 5%.
I think then we'd love to accept.
Whoa!
Thanks very much.
Well done.
Well
Amazing.
done, well
Thanks
done.
a lot, Stephen.
Amazing.
Really appreciate it.
Amazing.
Sorry.
Edward and Rich have done it.
What an investment as well to make as my first one.
Great.
Unbelievable
Well done, guys.
entrepreneurs.
Well done.
They depart with the £85,000 they were seeking and having made a little bit of den history by becoming Stephen Bartlett's first deal done.
Yes. It was kind of scary not accepting Peter's offer. I just didn't really make eye contact with him. But I think Stephen could bring so much to the business.
He adds the value in the areas that we need to help him.
Yeah.
Perfectly, such a great match.
I think that was a cracking deal.
That was really good.
I mean, you'll increase your percentage as you grow in that seat.
Sure, yeah.
But that was well done.
He's bitter though, he's bitter. Yeah, he's bitter.